came back with a red shirt on, tiptoed through the alley, and went right and started shooting.
Blacc Sam has never stayed quiet about the truth around his brother's passing, but now he just turned the volume way up. He's released fresh CCTV clips from Nipsey's store, showing the last moments before everything went left, and people are shaken. This isn't just emotional footage. It points straight at how the whole setup really went down and why things didn't add up from the jump. The video making waves comes from a nearby business looking over Nipsey's marathon clothing spot. You see a guy in a red shirt creeping through the alley, moving low-key before stepping toward the storefront like he knew exactly what he was there to do.
We in the doorway. When Hustle pull up, we in the doorway. You're gonna see me with a hoodie on, and I got a pistol on me. You're gonna see one of the team members in the hoodie in the doorway with a pistol. That's pro.
Seconds later, chaos erupts. Shots ring out, Nipsey drops, and people nearby panic and run in every direction. The wildest part is what comes next. The attacker stops, circles back, strikes Nipsey again, then takes off through the same alley like nothing happened. Not long after, he's caught pulling off in a car with a woman already waiting.
So it's Sunday, it's busy in there. Why the in there didn't follow the protocol? I wasn't there. Why they didn't follow it? Maybe they was around helping the customer, doing some customer service. This is what I'm thinking, trying to, transition into some legitimate selling clothes. But nobody was in the doorway.
For Blacc Sam and the Asghedom family, this footage hits deeper than proof. It's a painful reminder that Nipsey was left exposed. And that's what really burns. Because anyone who understands street movement knows protection is never optional. When you're someone with Nipsey's reach, respect, and money, you don't just slide through solo, ever. That's not how G's usually move. And the Asghedom family knew that better than anybody. Discipline was always the rule, because jealousy and envy can flip a calm moment upside down fast.
From my understanding, old boy walked up with no shirt on first to check the scene, because he know what's going on in that parking lot. And had a conversation, probably seen nobody was in the doorways, checked Hustle had on shorts, checked everybody else.
Sam and the team ran things like a tight unit. Security posted, eyes everywhere, perimeter locked in, no slipping allowed. But here's the part that hurts the most. On the one single day that routine broke down, Eric Holder made his move. You can hear the pain sitting heavy in Sam's voice.
Left, they say came back with a red shirt on, tiptoed through the alley, and went right and started shooting.
He knows deep down that if he had been there, if the rules hadn't slipped even once, his little brother would still be here today. A woman from LA who spoke on the situation instantly clocked how off it felt seeing the marathon store with no protection that day. In the neighborhood, everybody knows a place like that, tied to someone like Nipsey, is never supposed to be unguarded.
Number one, there's no red shirts in the hood. You can't buy no red shirt. No liquor store sell no red shirt.
The fact nobody stepped in, nobody reacted, was a loud sign that something wasn't right. And this wasn't random timing either. Holder wasn't just getting lucky, he was moving calculated. And that's what makes the whole thing feel even darker. This guy didn't just pop up randomly. He showed up earlier without a shirt, clearly doing what looked like a scouting run. He was checking the scene, watching the doorways, looking for protection, and reading the whole setup like a map. Once he saw nobody posted up, once he realized the usual routine had slipped, he knew that was his opening. This wasn't some emotional snap moment. It was planned, step by step, no question about it.
Number two, when it come through the alley with a red shirt, that's the throw off, or the Bloods did it, or the Inglewood families did it, or the BPS, that's the throw off, red shirt.
Holder wasn't guessing or moving reckless. He was moving sharp, like someone with inside awareness. The way he came back shows patience, timing, and straight up strategy. Sam's next point really pulls the curtain back on how deliberate this all was. And if you know street codes, you already know the red shirt wasn't a random pick. That color choice speaks loud in certain neighborhoods, and it sends signals without saying a word.
We had, we had spots in the hood, so one of the spots we had a little weed spots, 24-hour spot. And I think it was my boy who usually do one of the shifts. I had to cover one of the shifts. And so I think I was in it all night.
You don't just grab that anywhere. It means something. And that makes the whole situation feel even more calculated. That's real street awareness right there, especially in known Crip areas. You're not just stumbling across red clothing in local shops because everyone knows what that color signals. Holder showing up in red wasn't accidental. It was mental chess, meant to push people into thinking this was gang retaliation instead of what it really was. This was high-level misdirection, straight psychological play. Whoever planned this knew street politics well enough to steer the narrative fast.
So even like I said, you gotta realize, okay, Nip is celebrity, so we out there, people taking pictures.
Yeah.
So you walk up, let me get a selfie, people taking pictures, signing. So basically when Eric get out, you know, and they talk, the split second that they had, it was a brief conversation. So it wasn't a 10, 20, 30-minute conversation.
A red shirt makes witnesses and even investigators jump to conclusions before asking real questions. That alone screams pre-planned, and Sam isn't wrong for calling it out. This wasn't a random outburst. It was a calculated move that took advantage of a rare lapse in protection. And the hardest part is knowing Sam, the older brother, the shield who always kept Nipsey safe, wasn't there at that exact moment when it mattered most. Sam was handling real responsibilities, keeping things moving, making sure the whole operation stayed solid. This wasn't carelessness at all. It was an older brother grinding, covering every angle, and holding the structure together the way he always did. But the streets don't show mercy, and even when you're doing the right thing, things can still go wrong fast. With Sam away, the marathon team started easing up, moving more like a standard retail shop, focusing on customers and clean business instead of strict street awareness.
So you ain't seen your partner in a while. You ain't seen your associate. Y'all grew up together. Yeah. You ain't seen your friend in a while. He push up on you. Hey, you know, Nip say, you know, it's some floating around, you know, take care of it.
In most places, that's growth and progress. But in an environment where success brings hidden threats, relaxing the rules turned into a serious mistake. And that's where the uneasy questions start popping up. Did someone already know security would be light that day? Was Sam's absence really just timing or something more? Did someone make sure the usual routines weren't followed? These aren't wild rumors. They're logical concerns when you look at how cleanly everything fell apart. Now that the security breakdown is clear, it's time to talk about what really happened during that conversation between Nipsey and Eric Holder.
On a homie tip, like, hey bro, like, look, you got some paperwork, you need to take care of it. You know what I'm talking about? Like it ain't cool, like not, oh, you a snitch.
And let me be clear, almost everything people think they know about that moment is flat out wrong. The story that's been circulating doesn't line up with reality at all. The media, the courtroom, and even some hip-hop blogs kept pushing a version that quietly puts blame on Nipsey. They made it seem like he caused his own downfall, but that narrative falls apart once you hear the account from the only person who was there from start to finish. And that's where things get uncomfortable for a lot of people. Herman Cowboy Douglas stands out because he was right there for every word exchanged. No side deals, no clout chasing, no reason to twist anything. He was doing his job, watching Nipsey's back, and he's been trying to correct the story for years while false versions kept spreading.
He just said, bro, you know what I'm talking about? And the other cuz was like, oh, you hating on me, you know, hating on me. And that was like, man, you know what I'm talking about? Take care of it. And left it at that, and it was off to the next.
What the public got fed was this dramatic face-off, where Nipsey supposedly disrespected Holder and sparked everything himself. But according to Cowboy, that's not how it went down at all. He's been saying the truth from day one, even when nobody wanted to hear it. This is the real context that got completely lost in all the overhyped reporting. Nipsey was in his element, doing what he always did, showing love to the neighborhood, taking photos, signing autographs, and giving people his time. There was no tension, no face-off, no heated moment at all. This was Nipsey being Nipsey, spreading that positive energy that made people respect him everywhere.
It was never nothing heated. If it had been anything somewhat heated, I would have snatched cuz up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If Nip would have had anything heated, you know what I mean? It was a quick pull to the side, like, hey bro, take care of that business. Feel me? Nothing confrontational whatsoever.
When Eric Holder walked up, it wasn't some enemy clash. It was old connections crossing paths again, nothing more. That part matters, and it keeps getting ignored. This is real neighborhood code. Older, more established guys often look out for younger ones, especially when rumors start floating around and situations could get messy. That's what this was about. Guidance, not confrontation. One brother trying to warn another, man to man. And here's the key point people keep twisting. Nipsey never used that label people keep repeating. That word never came out of his mouth, not once. The story being pushed is completely off. And that's what makes this whole situation so disturbing. During that talk, Nipsey moved exactly how real OGs move. He wasn't attacking anyone. He was giving guidance. He let Holder know there were rumors floating around, paperwork talk that could put him in a bad spot in the neighborhood if it didn't get cleared up. That's not hostility, that's looking out. Nipsey was basically saying, I'm hearing things about you, and you should handle it before it turns into something bigger.
But I mean, nothing whatsoever. He even said, got some paperwork. I ain't seen it, but you take care of it. Basically he was giving him a lookout, like looking out for him.
The exchange was short, calm, and respectful. No raised voices, no threats, no wild energy at all. Nipsey finished the convo and kept it moving, greeting other people like he always did. Holder brushed it off with a comment about people talking, and Nipsey simply told him to take care of his situation. That was the end of it. And this part matters a lot. Cowboy, Nipsey's security and protector, was right there the whole time. If there was even a hint of disrespect, he would have stepped in instantly. The fact he stayed relaxed and even let Holder's girl take a photo with Nipsey tells you everything about the real tone of that moment. The handshake at the end says everything. It was calm, respectful, and peaceful. That's what makes Eric Holder's reaction later so hard to wrap your head around. Nipsey wasn't pressing him, clowning him, or trying to embarrass him in public. If anything, Nipsey was doing the opposite. Looking out, trying to keep him safe from a situation that could have gone bad in the neighborhood.
I guess the way he was just like, cuz, have you ever snitched on somebody, cuz this, cuz that?
That's what Nipsey was saying?
That's what Eric was saying. Nipsey wasn't like saying nothing. He was just like, nah, nah, like that,
Nipsey stepped in as the bigger man, the wiser voice, the community leader. That's real leadership in the streets. Not flexing or putting people on blast, but pulling someone aside and giving them advice that could keep them alive. Quiet guidance, not public drama. And here's where things get even more telling. The woman who was with Holder, Anita Nicholson, backed up Cowboy's account and added details that raised serious concerns. According to her, Nipsey never brought up that label people keep repeating. Holder was the one acting uneasy, the one bringing it up himself, clearly stressed. Nipsey shut it down fast, basically saying they weren't even on that type of timing. So you've got Eric Holder stirring things up, pushing awkward energy, bringing up stuff that didn't need to be said at all. Meanwhile, Nipsey is staying calm, respectful, trying to keep everything smooth. Even Holder's own girl could see he was doing too much, reaching for tension where there wasn't any. That's why Cowboy's been frustrated for years, because the truth keeps getting twisted. And this is straight talk from someone who was actually there.
Me, it sounded like, kind of like he was trying to be a little messy.
Oh.
I wasn't kind of like getting into it, but because I'm not the messy type. I'm just like kind of like listening, but I'm just like, okay, like, what is he talking about? Like, to myself.
Cowboy makes one thing clear. Even if Nipsey had said something reckless, which he didn't, that still wouldn't excuse what happened later. And more importantly, Cowboy has zero reason to bend the story. If Nipsey had crossed the line, Cowboy would say it, period. The fact that he keeps standing on the same version, that Nipsey stayed respectful and was genuinely trying to look out for Holder, makes his words hit harder. This is the truth buried under years of loud headlines and dramatic spins. Nipsey didn't disrespect anyone, didn't provoke chaos, didn't invite harm with careless talk. He did what he always did, looked out for his people and tried to guide someone through a risky situation. That conversation was calm, short, and ended on good terms. Nothing in those few minutes could ever justify what happened later, not even close.
I mean, what do I gain if Nip did call him a snitch, say, oh yeah, he was a snitch. Okay, I would say that. That still don't justify what he did. I still gonna smash for what's right and what's wrong, okay? I would say, yeah, Nip did do that. But no, he didn't, you know what I mean? So there's no need for me to, why would I hide that piece of truth?
The fact that Eric Holder took friendly guidance and twisted it into something dark says everything about his mindset and intentions at that moment. What's really disturbing is how a false story took over and refused to let go. The claim that Nipsey labeled Holder has been repeated so much that people stopped questioning it. A lot of folks accepted the idea of a heated clash because it fits old stereotypes about street life, even when the facts don't support it. The media, the courtroom drama, and even voices in hip-hop helped keep that version alive because it sounds more dramatic. But the truth is far simpler and harder to swallow. Nipsey didn't lose his life over disrespect or ego. He lost it for being exactly who he always was, a thoughtful leader who tried to look out for everyone around him, even those who didn't always deserve it. The real heartbreak is this. Nipsey's final move toward Holder was an act of care and protection. He saw someone possibly heading toward danger and tried to help. Instead of recognizing that respect, Holder twisted that moment into something tragic, leaving behind unanswered questions and shadows that still don't sit right. Let's address the big issue that mainstream platforms keep skating around. The long-running tension between Big U and Nipsey didn't pop up overnight. This wasn't a light business disagreement. It was deep-rooted friction tied to money, respect, territory, and influence. And when you're dealing with someone known to hold weight in LA street politics, walking away clean isn't always that simple. A woman from LA who spoke on this laid out the timeline in a way that shows how drawn out and calculated this situation really was. According to her, things started getting shaky when Nipsey wanted out of his arrangement with Big U, who reportedly held rights connected to the Crenshaw brand. That business tie allegedly became leverage, keeping pressure on Nipsey's moves and decisions. But things didn't stop there. Tension jumped up another level once Nipsey began working closely with YG and bringing him into 60s territory. That same source says this caused serious friction.
Nip never disrespected that man. I took it more or less Nip was looking out for him. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't seen you in a while, you know, it's some around. You need to go ahead and take care of that.
In LA street culture, bringing artists linked to different affiliations into a neighborhood for business can spark major issues. And that move reportedly didn't sit right at all. Moves like that kind of crossover always require careful talks and respect for boundaries. When Nipsey started making decisions without checking in with certain power players, without showing the expected respect, it was taken as a challenge to the old structure. In those circles, that kind of independence doesn't go unnoticed. Now here's where things get really heavy, and this part should make people stop and think. According to multiple sources, the security breakdown at the marathon wasn't random at all. The claim is that someone with influence may have made sure protocols weren't followed that day, leaving Nipsey exposed when he normally wouldn't be. Think about what that would take. You'd need inside knowledge of security routines, awareness of who was supposed to be there, and perfect timing to catch a rare moment of vulnerability. That kind of setup doesn't just fall into place on its own. This points to planning, coordination, and access, because there's no logical reason a location like the marathon should have been unprotected, especially with Nipsey present. That's what makes the situation feel so deliberate and unsettling. Everyone really tapped into the streets in LA instantly knew something felt off. People who understand how situations like this usually unfold saw red flags right away. But then the story took an even darker, more confusing turn. After Eric Holder carried out the attack, reports surfaced claiming members of his family later lost their lives as well. His mother, grandmother, and others, said to be retaliation tied to Nipsey's passing. That shook a lot of people.
Like to keep that title of Eric was called a snitch, you know, and everything like that. Yeah. And your whole thing was always trying to put out there, Nip never said the word snitch. Never. So if we're going to talk about this, we need to leave that part out because that's not what was said.
Now here's where street logic kicks in hard. A trusted LA source made a sharp point. If a powerful figure had truly set this whole thing up and used Holder as the trigger man, the first move would have been protecting his family, not leaving them exposed. You don't remove your own leverage like that. That only creates pressure, loose ends, and reasons to talk. So that leaves two serious possibilities. Either this was raw retaliation from people demanding justice, or it was a clean sweep meant to silence anyone who might know too much. Either way, it makes Holder look less like a lone actor and more like a disposable piece on a bigger board. And when you stack that with the calculated movement, the alley approach, the scouting run, the red shirt distraction, it no longer lines up with a spur-of-the-moment reaction at all. This level of planning points to something deeper. Either Holder was far more calculated than people assumed, or someone else was guiding the moves. Like Blacc Sam said, showing up in red in Crip territory wasn't random at all. It was a mental play, meant to push the story toward gang tension instead of the real motive. That's strategy, not impulse. And here's where things don't line up. How does someone with shaky credibility and personal struggles suddenly pull off layered misdirection like this? That question keeps popping up. The timeline before the incident brings up even more uncomfortable coincidences. Just days earlier, there were reported tensions tied to the DJ Khaled video shoot in the area. Blacc Sam explained there were serious street politics involved in safely moving high-profile people in and out of the neighborhood. Some individuals weren't happy about Nipsey bringing big names into their space. That shows that hours before everything went left, Nipsey and his team were already dealing with internal pressure tied to business and collaborations. The long talks about security and neighborhood politics proved they knew threats existed, and those threats were bigger than one individual acting alone. Add in the Dr. Sebi documentary angle, and the situation gets even more layered and unsettling.
Our community right now, we lost and we work for one person, that person, our community. Thousands of jobs we don't have no more. Homies don't have nothing to do. They backslide. They robbed people. We had stuff to kill them. Now they don't have nothing to do. All our stores is closed down. We were relying on jobs.
Multiple sources say Nipsey was working on a documentary about Dr. Sebi and his claims around natural health and healing. There's no solid proof tying that project directly to his gone, but the timing alone raises eyebrows. Still, the strongest clues aren't up top. They're on the street level, where patterns don't lie. The way authorities responded after the attack set off serious alarms. Reports say when Holder's female companion tried to turn herself in, she was turned away, which later triggered an internal affairs review. That alone makes people question who was being protected and why. Then you look at the impact Nipsey's loss had on the community, and it tells a bigger story. Who actually benefited from wiping out a self-made black entrepreneur who was creating jobs, ownership, and real opportunity for his people? That question matters. These are the reasons investigators should have looked past Holder and toward whoever may have been guiding him. And the clearest sign this wasn't some emotional snap moment is Holder's own behavior afterward. Multiple sources say he checked into a mental health facility days later, asking for help. That move doesn't line up with a random outburst. It adds another layer to an already complicated situation. If someone really acted off pure emotion, why would their next move be checking into a mental health facility instead of running or laying low? That move doesn't match panic. It looks planned. Either Holder broke down after realizing the damage, or he was following a preset path that included building a mental health angle from the jump. With how calculated the attack looked, that second option can't be brushed off. The courtroom side raised more questions too. Prosecutors leaned heavy on testimony from Holder's female companion, who received immunity. The defense didn't even try denying the act. That wasn't possible. Instead, they focused on mental health and pushed to reduce the charge, arguing it wasn't planned but happened in the moment. That strategy alone tells you a lot. Holder's sentence makes sure he'll never realistically speak freely. 60 years with no chance of release until decades pass basically seals his silence. Anyone else tied to a bigger plot would likely be gone by then. Blacc Sam pulling back from certain people says even more. He's been careful about who gets access to Nipsey's name and image, and that speaks volumes. It suggests he doesn't trust everyone around the situation. And the speed at which Nipsey's entire operation fell apart after his passing only adds to the unease. Things unraveled way too fast for it to feel normal. After everything, the fallout was massive. The Marathon store shut down, nearby businesses folded, and thousands of jobs disappeared almost overnight. Was that a natural collapse? Or did someone know exactly where to apply pressure to cause maximum damage? What's even colder is how fast the story was controlled. Within hours, a false narrative took over and shut down deeper questions before they could even breathe. That story pushed a claim that never happened, making this look like routine street drama instead of something far more targeted. And somehow, blame got flipped onto Nipsey himself. If this made you think, hit like, share this with someone who needs to see it, comment your thoughts, and subscribe for more breakdowns like this. I'll see you on the next one.